It's another edition of Adventures in Careerland. Welcome, everyone. This is our, close to our last edition before we take a brief hiatus. And Lily asked me what an hiatus meant, and it meant just a little sojourn. Mm-hmm. So Lily might be asking, what the heck's a sojourn? And a sojourn is a bit of a break. It's a bit of a break because in the Arts and Tech Center, where we run the program and the broadcast media program, it's the end of the road for our two esteemed, intelligent, hardworking, technical producers. So, Adventures in Careerland, I'm the host. I'm Adriano Magnifico. I'm the career development consultant and facilitator in the Riel School Division. And I am ably assisted over the past 14, 15 weeks, I think, by Isabella Soares.
Hello, everyone.
Yes, and she's our international student from Brazil. She's ending the program. And Lili Chen.
Hello, everyone.
She's from China. And you've gotten to know these two folks over the last 14 weeks. And it's honestly, it's been my incredible pleasure to know you two, to connect with you, to partake and to play on this podcast with you, and to have you buy into this podcast and just take so much time and effort and turn it into a pretty good piece of media for people to share and to listen to, hopefully in their car ride home, when they're on their ride to work. So a little sad I'm losing you two.
Oh no, you're never losing us.
Okay, well, that's me trying to say I've had enough, okay? I'm done with you two. So today we don't have an official guest. The guests we are our own guests today, because we just want to reflect a little bit on what the year was like with us and what the project has been like, and what we've learned, some of the lessons, and we want to think about all of that. So in this 14th episode, think about it. We've done 14 episodes of Adventures in Careerland. I would have been happy with 5. We've done 14, and that's a tribute to you guys. Honestly, it's a tribute to your sense of, we're doing this every week, and you've pushed me to keep pushing the podcast out and to get a sense that, hey, when we do a job, we get into the routine of doing this job. We keep iterating the job. We keep trying to bring new guests in, and we've done that. So that's been it's been a very special experience for me. So I'm so grateful to you two, and we're part of our team together, and a team needs complementary skills. And so I'm so grateful because you people are in the broadcast media program, are learning the tech skills, right? I'm more of a writer, I'm more of a content designer. But when it comes to learning the tech skills, for me, it's just, do I have to do this? So you can't imagine how grateful I am when I walk into the studio, you guys are ready to go. And there's a production team to whom I am eternally grateful in the other room. You can't see them, but they're in a room, they're huddled over listening to this. Many thanks to you folks about helping to organize the tech. Remember, we started without the video piece, right? How cool is that?
Yeah.
And now we have this video piece, and in those early years, it was just our voices, which was a lot of fun. So this is always a little weird to me because I'm always thinking, what do I look like now when we're on video? And they're going to look back on this after COVID going, look at these pieces. They have masks on. Are they?
Yeah.
Do they think they're superheroes or something? Or
Oh no.
do they wonder why? Is this Batman? Is this Lily Girl? What is this?
But normally the heroes, they use the mask to cover the up, this part of the face, not this part, right? Remember the Batman? They cover here.
Yeah.
They never cover here.
That's true.
Well, this covers up more of our face, right? And for most of you listeners out there, this is probably a very good thing. Less of me you see. I've got a face like an old catcher's mitt, so the less you see of me, probably the better. So complementary skills. I'm interested in your thoughts. You've gone through a process. You're also students. And I can say with great energy that I have been a student alongside with you, learning and trying to figure out how to do things. What's been your experience like doing this, Lili? We'll start with Lili, whom we've often known, and we always joke about it, our tiger mom, right? Our tiger mom. How's this experience been for you? What do you think?
I never imagined that I could do this.
Why?
Yeah,
Why?
yeah, because at the very beginning when I joined this program, I'm a kind of a shy person. I don't like to put myself in front of a camera or even radio. I'm a kind of less of confidence or what, and especially in English. Or you can imagine that I never do it in Chinese, that's my mother language, but in English, oh my God, at the very beginning for the first several episodes, I'm so nervous. I feel like all my brain, they're blank, I couldn't remember what I'm talking about. But what is very important for me is like in this career land, adventure is really, really an adventure for me. It's like I know people and I understand in different episodes we have different guests and they're so amazing. Each of them, they can bring to me something very useful or valuable and precious things. And I can, of course, transfer this to my daughter, first. But in fact, they inspired me a lot. It's like, I'm learning not only the technical things, I'm learning also the culture of here in Canada. And also I got used to work with all these members in the class, like the faculties there in the control room and with you guys. So that's fantastic. I really enjoy a lot of this. And I improve myself. I feel like it's not so bad I'm looking inside the camera.
No, the camera loves you, Lili.
No,
The camera loves
camera.
you. It loves who you are and what you offer. I've seen your confidence grow
Yeah, thank you.
honestly, from a small little baby bird in the nest. So you're an eagle now. You're soaring. And
Yeah.
I feel your confidence, and I love conversing with you. And there's a maturity to you. Like you've had a big life experience. You've talked about that in one of our opening podcasts. Just your life experience is off the chart. It's always the language you felt that was holding you back. And you always ask me about vocabulary, right? Like
Yeah.
you're always bugging me about what does this word mean? Like we're joking about hiatus and sojourn and those kinds of things.
Yes.
But you soak things up like a sponge. And at our age, our brains aren't supposed to be able to soak it up like that, but you still do. That's amazing. I just find you are a learner. I think in our lives we are all learners all the time, and we grow. We grow and get better and iterate and keep pivoting based on how we want to affirm our spirits, right?
Yes.
So that's awesome. Isabella, what do you think? How's this been for you?
It's definitely been a huge ride. I remember just coming here on the first day, and I was just so excited because everything was so new. And right from the beginning, Mr. P already had so many things to teach us. We started like mounting cameras, going to shoot things, and then coming back, editing everything, and then showing it off in the connection. Obviously, throughout the year, there were some significant changes due to COVID, but I think I'm very lucky that we've been in such a great group, and our teachers really were invested in finding new ways to teach us what was literally in the coursework, but in a different way in which we could actually do this at home. And I think what I really learned about myself and about what I want to accomplish is that I can definitely learn things that aren't so easy for me at first and just challenge myself. It's not so hard if you actually accept these challenges and not look at them as if they are impossible, but actually just think about the word impossible, really. It's called I'm possible, but together. And really, we are all possible, and we can always really exceed our expectations, just aim higher, And it was just so great to meet all of you. The podcast definitely helped me open up, think about questions to ask the guests, and just soak in everything that they've experienced and hopefully uh, put this in my own life. Yeah.
Well, that's pretty powerful because you both, like you mentioned this at the adventure part of the podcast title, you talked about it's been a ride.
Yes.
So it is about the adventure, right? Like the whole Adventures in Careerland podcast was this conception of mine thinking everybody's on this kind of path. And it's always quite amazing. There is no one that I know in my life who is doing some kind of career work or doing some project that they intended to do way back when they were your age, Isabella. Like things just change. And I think chambers of commerce, we've always had these, there's all kinds of research. I remember even growing up, the Chamber of Commerce would tell us way back in the 80s, you know, oh, you're going to change your job 5 or 6 times. And now they're saying now they're going to change your jobs 10 times in your life. Like they've been saying that to us forever as if it's new.
Yeah.
And I think people continue to iterate their lives and jobs, their interests, and they get this sense of where their gravitational forces, where they seem to get attracted to places, right? And I just think that's the way of life. I don't think, as much as it may be connected to particular economies or job growth or trends, I think we just all change jobs. It's going to be rare now for someone to spend 40 years in a job. Even if they do, I bet you it'll be in a different department. I bet you they'll move up, they'll grow, they'll find, and they'll just iterate, and things will be different. So the adventure, to me, that's the adventure. There is no set place. There is no kind of static moment where you're just going to continue to do whatever you did, the routine. I think people have that sense too of, I want to bust out of that if I'm in that mode. I don't feel fulfilled. You're the classic example of that, Lily. When you come from a place where you needed to bust out of something, you needed to, even though you were doing so well, you needed to exert yourself differently. And so you've gone into this creative context. So I really like that. The ride, the adventure. That's what it's about. And when people tell their stories, I've always had this impression when I've worked with students, and I've worked with thousands of them in career development, people are always nervous about talking. I'm talking in my own, I have a class right now, a virtual class. I'm working with some students, and some of them are very nervous about talking. They're nervous about saying things online about who they are. When the irony of that is, and when I see it all the time, the irony is that's when people actually want to listen to you. When you are authentic, when you're genuine, and when you start sharing some of your story and it's real, people kind of lean in. They don't go, no, I'm out of here. That's when people lean in, when you're genuine and authentic. So when we heard these stories from all of our partners that were so, at times I was so amazed at how truthful they were. You know, do you remember Andre saying, I went to, the one that sticks out with me, although all of them do in some way. I remember Andre saying, I went to the orientation to go to my program in business administration. They started talking and I ran away. I just totally ran away. Like, how honest is that? Like, I just have a new appreciation, and always an appreciation for people who say, this is my story. It's not always perfect, but it's who I am, and it's making me stronger all the time. So I just love some of that. I also loved our cohorts, right? Think about that. Like we got Gen Z here, Gen Y, and baby boomers. So those thoughts were cool. When Damien came on last week, and we had all 4 of us there, I thought it was kind of fascinating to hear how people think. And I talked to you guys a lot, because my great fortunate experience is I can pop up here and have a conversation with you guys about what's going down, and that also has opened my mind to just how everyone thinks based on or everyone has a mindset based on when they were born and what events surrounded them. I suspect what's going on in the United States will affect a group of people growing up now
That's for sure.
indefinitely, you know? Just like 9/11, that group affected indefinitely. Just like World War II affected indefinitely, right? Like it just, those things shape your mindsets and shape how careful you are about what you choose, what's your risk orientation. So I really love those pieces. They make us all smarter. Like, do you feel like, are there some guests you remember and some stories you remember where you went, Oh my gosh. I had no idea. Any stories like that?
What make me my minds grow up during this several episode is like I remember that the girl talking about from the hair
Cassie.
yeah, Cassie, when she talk about she's the 70%, you remember we have discussed about that,
Yes, yes.
right?
Yes.
What I've learned is like in my life, in my generation, what I've been trained, what I've been told is like it's better that I should learn from all the things what happened and to get my experience and to avoid mistake in my life and to be more success. But in fact, everyone, what I've learned from all these people, no matter you're the 70% or you are the 10% or you're the 1% on the top, or maybe you are okay at the 10% on the bottom. Anyway, anybody can enjoy their life.
Yes.
And they have different paths of their life, right?
Yes.
As long as you accept yourself and you enjoy yourself, you're successful.
Yeah, and 70%, when you think about 70%, 65 to 70% in a school is 70 to 80% of the entire population. There's a
Yeah.
10% that does the 85 to 100, right?
Yeah.
And there's a bottom percent that struggles sometimes, that we work extra hard on and put more resource to bring over the line sometime. And the light goes on at different times for these kids. You may know some of them. I know some kids that I grew up with, honestly, that I thought, oh, you don't know what you're doing. And we define them by their educational experience, which makes no sense. And they've gone on to great lives. And they've had, because the light goes on for different people at different times. When I say the light goes on, it just means this realization that, okay, I got to get on with my life and I want to do something fruitful and I want to do something that makes a difference to me as a human being and affirms me and makes me feel like I have great value and I have something to offer and contribute. So it's different for everyone. I think it's such a variable thing. School's an interesting place in that sometimes school just puts everyone in the same space, organizes you by grades.
Yep.
And who's to say a grade 11 is more mature than a grade 10? Or a grade 12 is more mature than a grade 9 sometimes. I tell you, I'm in a class with a grade 9 to 12 group. Some of the grade 9s are the best students in the group. Just the way they think. And their sense of, I really want to work hard and I really want to go. And there's a maturity to some of the grade 9. The light goes on at different times. The background and your parents, right?
Yeah.
So that's fascinating. The
Yeah,
Cassie
because-
one's interesting, right?
Yeah, because the people you build up yourself is not only the knowledge from the school. There's several parts from the knowledge build
Yes.
up you, parts from the society, parts from the academy things, and part from your family, right? All these things, and some gift from yourself. All these things build up you yourself.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Right. So the problem is, I feel comfortable here in Canada is because the education system is more diversity than in China. Because in China, we grade people only. We can say majority is in academy. So you have a good result in academy, you are successful, and people will value you.
And you value by the mark, right? The
Yes.
score.
Yeah, but that's what I don't like it.
Well, do you remember what Damien said? He said if he could change education, he would get rid of all the tests.
Yeah.
Right? That was an interesting comment.
That's why I'm so surprised that his family can support him to give up law things,
But that's the generational thing, right? You and
Yeah.
I are looking, you didn't become a lawyer? What are you, crazy? But,
Oh, yeah.
but lawyers are going through their own issues, right? In this
Sure,
new
for
economy.
sure. Yeah.
Where young lawyers used to be able to article and do all the research. An algorithm can do that now. In an hour, an algorithm can do what a young lawyer could have done in a week. So there's other tools. So everyone has to reinvent themselves. Lawyers have to become more creative, right? And a welder has to become more creative because more machines can do more work. So the workers themselves, I don't think they're going to be optioned out of the system. I think they're going to rethink how they participate in the system
Yep.
and build new skill sets that relate to their great welding abilities.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah, I remember one quote, but please refresh in my mind on which guest said this, but she was talking about
This is a
every
quiz, Lily.
day.
By the way, this is one of the quizzes you were talking about. She's going to quiz. We have to know what it was. So
Yeah.
get your
Yes.
pen ready. Get your pen ready to make
Okay,
it.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
One of the guests that we had, she was talking about always going to dinner with her family.
Oh yeah, 100 people, right?
Yeah.
No,
With
not this
Nika.
one.
Nika.
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 I think, yeah,
Yeah.
Nika. And I thought that was so interesting because other than just that, she was also talking about being good in several different areas in school. And we always label people, oh, you're good at math, or and you're good at humanities, I don't know. But you can literally be good at everything. Why do you have to fit a certain label? And I just thought it was so interesting talking to her how sincere she was about her journey. And she just thought about family more than what other people would think. And what she had to offer was just like sympathy and so much to learn from her as well. Like, she was one of the highlights for me, but I think Cassie was as well. Like, her quote was amazing about people say that life is too short, but it's really long. And honestly, it is.
Yeah.
And it was just great to hear her say that and talk about her journey as well.
That's pretty neat. You know what? When you're talking about that and the divergence of skills that are required, there is some research out there, and I often show it to students. There's a video called "Success in the Economy" by Kevin Fleming, and he's I think, don't quote me exactly on this, but he's a California professor, I believe, or a dean in a school. I don't know exactly, but he's done some work. He's some research, and the research has borne itself out from 1950 to, they say, till at least 2030. Like, it's going to continue, and that is it's called the 1-to-7 ratio. And the 1-to-7 ratio means for every PhD, to make an economy run at its optimum levels, and to ensure that everybody's working, and for all the job skills that are needed, we need in an economy for every one PhD or master's degree, we need 2 undergrad degrees at university, right? And 7 diplomas or certificates, which means, and that has been going in his research, that has shown itself to be prevalent since 1950, which means the people who go into the other ones, we always push sometime, go to university.
Yeah.
That's the first things we say. Almost more fruitful lives can occur sometime when you choose one of those 7, which are diplomas and trades. The idea of becoming an electrician versus becoming a professor at university.
Yeah.
The universities, those are the minority of people who actually run the economies and make them go.
Yeah.
And so people can have great middle class lives if we understand the 1-to-7 ratio and see that there's value in being part of the 7, not always being a part of the 2, which is and we need them all. And if there's a lack of one of them, that's when economies start saying we have a skill shortage. We need to get more people to do this. And so when we have the good balance, that's when economies run well, right? And it's hard to talk about in a COVID world because COVID messes up everything, right? It just shuts things down. But in an economy that's running on all cylinders, the 1-to-7 ratio, according to Kevin Fleming, and you can look it up. It's a great video. I show it to kids all the time. It's about a 7 or 8 minute video where he just shows that too many kids are thinking that the only way to a great life is through a university degree. You're not in a university degree here. You're in a diploma program, which is building your skill sets and making you eminently employable, right, for all kinds of potential. Even if you don't go into, you're in broadcast media. Where do you think your skills lie beyond broadcast media? Have you ever thought about that?
Well, I feel like 1 year for me is not enough. I should learn more.
But it's skills, right? Like you're on the road.
Yeah. I start to edit all these things for my family, and we start. It's definitely changed the way of, the life, at least in my family. It's like before, like we take pictures For example, if we go to a vacation, and now I feel regret. I feel like why should I should took more video, and then I can edit. I can make it more fun than a picture.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
because I have this skill. But before I joined this program, oh my God, Photoshop, oh my God, Adobe, After Effects, it's a kind of no, I never can do it, you know. But when I start to learn, oh, it's okay. I can manage something. I don't have to be one top level expert to work for the dream work, you know,
Yeah.
like Disneyland.
yes.
I don't have to be that level, but it's also already okay for me to manage my life, a basic job or entry level job. It's quite okay.
Well, would you say then it sounds like you are the ultimate stepping out of your boundary, you know, taking a leap of faith and taking some risk. Is it important to take risks and to step outside your comfort zones?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think taking risk is literally your way of finding what is best for your life. Because if you stay in like a box, or you just think that you achieved everything you had to achieve in life, you'll probably just regret it later, you know? Like Lily was talking about like taking videos instead of taking pictures. That is something I also thought about because as a kid, like my parents could have taken like these videos and made these like cassette tapes, which nowadays would probably be like on DVD or online, but it would be so cool to capture these moments and have them there. And I also think one of the greatest things I learned here, that it could be applied to any different job or scenario, is that you have to communicate well. It doesn't matter if you're going to be a manager in a store or you're going to be a business person. You need to know how to communicate well and be understood. And even yesterday, I was talking with my little brother. He is going to participate in a podcast today, and he was asking me some questions. Oh, how should I say this about myself and everything? And with this program, I was able to understand what is the best way to tell a story. And even with the people that we talked to, just the way that they told everything that went through in their lives, you know, it's a great lesson that I learned, and I hopefully will carry it on.
Well, that's a great point you made, because one of the most difficult things for students is learning how to talk about themselves. It's a difficult thing for anybody. And so that's why we created this. In Riel, we created this thing. I gave it to you guys. It's called the Lean Career Design Canvas. And sometimes this canvas is 3 to 5 feet, not 11 by 17 inches. In COVID, we've gone to 11 by 17. But kids get this sense of rolling up this giant canvas of themselves. And it initiates with, we call it the Lean Canvas because it's based on lean processes that I learned in some of my educational backgrounds with the Canadian manufacturers and exporters and some of the logistics and supply chain programs and designations that I've earned. And I use lean because lean is cutting the fat. That's what it is. It's making it to be blunt, and it makes it more efficient. So this piece is a career development process that cuts the fat. And makes it lean and makes it quick. And it's a design process that says, what do I want to figure out about myself? And it asks you in the middle to do some soul searching. And then after the soul searching, it says, okay, you've just learned a lot about yourself. You've learned a lot about yourself. You've learned a lot about yourself. Do you want to reframe your question and make a plan about how to tackle and solve your problem? So I've even gone, my background in entrepreneurship as well, and training kids and running programs in entrepreneurship led me to this sense of how can we do career development with an entrepreneurial verve? And that's where this canvas came from. So I invite you guys. Now you have to figure out your next step.
Yeah.
And the question is, I invite you to try the canvas and to say, ask this question of yourself. What do I need to figure out about myself right now? And make a plan for it. It starts here to make the question, then goes to the end of the plan. In the middle is everything because you've collected so many dots.
Mm-hmm.
Remember we talk about that?
Yeah.
We collect dots all the time. So in this program, what do you think are the best dots that you've collected? And by dot, we mean the experiences, the activities, the mentorships, everything that you've engaged experientially is a dot. So what are the big dots do you think you've collected here that will make a difference for you moving forward?
Oh, I just recalled one thing is, before I moved to Canada, my last job, in fact, is not HR, it's about marketing. I worked in a real estate marketing company for almost 10 years.
Wow.
And what's amazing is here, when I try to learn, join this program, I never think it's linked with marketing.
Yes.
I think it's totally different. And I think ordinary people won't understand what linked this, broadcast and media program with the marketing professional things, right? But recently, you see the technical change, and the COVID make the world change, right? Before, for the marketing, what do? We promote something, we do some kind of exhibition, we do some advertisement or something. But recently, what do? We use social media, right? The social media start to, to jump into the stage. And before, it's like we make some video, like advertisement we put into the TV show, or we put in between of the TV show, or, on the TV set, right? But now it's like everybody can do by themselves on social media. And you can touch directly to the people there. So that's connected, like
Yes.
broadcast
Yes.
media linked to marketing is a lot. For example, if let's talk, I don't know whether for people who want to immigrate here to Canada, and they will say, okay, there's an NOC, some, job link there. And they will say that, okay, marketing is a kind of job on the list.
Yes.
But broadcast media, no. But the problem is today, for a marketing specialist, you should know how to manage social media.
Yeah.
You should have the knowledge to shoot something, to edit something, and then to publish that.
So you're saying this stuff is life skills almost?
Yes.
These are the new life skills that you're learning.
Yeah.
here. Wow.
So that's kind of things like,
Everything's interconnected.
yeah,
Yes.
you shouldn't just close your mind to stay on what you are there, and you should go along with the trend and to see, okay, oh my God, I just recently discovered this. Oh my God, this linked with marketing. It's linked with my job.
Yes.
That's so
That's a powerful
cool.
line. It's cool, but when you're seeing the interconnectivity
Yeah.
of all the skills,
Yeah.
things aren't so isolated as they were way back when, where you just had one job, you did your one thing. Now everything's kind of put interwoven.
Another thing is like, we talk about medical,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Before, like when we think about the surgery things, it's like doctor and they in the operation room and they operate. But today it's totally different.
Yes.
Many of the operations when they use machine.
Yes.
They use camera there.
Yes.
And the doctor, they don't look at the people, the patient there. They look at the camera and to say, okay, this is inside. They use the tiny needles inside to cut some things.
So it's less invasive.
Yeah.
Like my original knee operation here, they ripped it apart. I have a scar on my knee that's like,
Yeah.
now they make a little pin
Yeah.
prick and go in.
But this thing's also linked with broadcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
It's camera things, or this all is linked. So that's amazing for me. Is you can see like
That's a great insight, Lily. That's a
Yeah.
great insight about the interconnectivity of what we learn and just about how we use that in every aspect of our life. What's the big dot you've collected here?
I remember the first day that I came here, I was talking to Mr. Lobo, and he was saying, you're going to learn so many things. You're going to learn how to operate a camera, edit videos, and all that. And all that I was thinking, I came here because I want to be a reporter. I just want to be in camera, say the things, report, actually interview people. That's what I want to do. I don't care about camera work or editing. And then with time, with learning all these new skills and applying them, I just really became overwhelmed of how incredible it is for you to know everything
Yeah.
and be a way better professional than if you just know one skill. I mean, for you to be a reporter one day, or even any area, either it's like media related or just like any other career path, like you were
Yeah.
talking about, Lily, you need to know different skills.
Yeah.
Because how are you going to direct, for example, if you're in a newsroom? Oh, I want this to be like this. I want you to say this. I want this song underneath this. How can you direct that if you don't know how to do it yourself?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it doesn't matter what job you're in. If you are, for example, like a CEO of a company and you never did, the rough job, like
Yeah.
the really lowest level you could be in that company, how can you actually direct that person if you don't have that life experience?
That's a
Yeah.
great point. That's a
Yeah.
great point. You know what? And it's working in the trench makes you stronger to be the better leader later.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like I've worked with a group that owns some hotels and different things, and if I didn't know how to work that cash register, it wasn't going to go well in that hotel.
Yes.
Like those are things you need to know your own trenches. You need to know the skills in your trenches. Hey, you know what? We're going to come to the end of this, but just a last couple of things. I just want to say to you guys, let's do something we call, when I do with students, called strength bombardments. You know what that is? So we're all going to take a turn, and we're going to go to Lily, and we're going to say, Lily, here's what I find are your great strengths. So I'm going to start it off, and then you're going to take a turn, then we'll go to you.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll start with Lily. Here's what I find, Lily, as your great strength. Your confidence.
Thank you.
I find your discipline, your seriousness when a project is on the line and you're moving towards it. And I think your skill and your ability to speak has really exponentially improved.
Oh, thank you.
I really think you're going to be an asset to somebody. What do you think?
I just think, Lily, from the first day that I met you and just seeing your progress throughout this whole program, I really admire just your whole way of leading with things. I mean, you were saying that before you were terrified being on camera. I remember you telling me, I just want to be in this program so that I can, film my daughter and see her grow up.
Nice.
You were never
Yes.
thinking about yourself in front of the camera. So just your ability to take on these challenges and surpass them is just so
Nice.
incredible. I just love your optimism too.
Yes.
No matter what workspace you're in, you need someone who is positive and is actually willing to do something.
Yeah.
And you really bring that. Doesn't matter what project we're in, whether it's this podcast or something we're doing for class. You're always so positive and excited about it, and it makes me excited. So I'm really grateful for that. It
That's
was
awesome.
great to
That's
meet
awesome.
you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Isabella, you know what I love about you? I just love you're the youthful one in this group. So I love your energy and your spirit. And how many times do you and I have many conversations about, hey, we got to do this. Oh my gosh, you have a get things done attitude. I just love you're going to take it. And you take feedback so well. Sometimes I'll say, hey, that line's not working, because I'm a bit of a grammarian. You don't go, well, what is that? No, you're just happy. You want it to look the best. You have a sense of, I want this job to be the best it can. I want it to look right. Your spirit and your energy and your enthusiasm are always such an affirmation for me. I love popping up here just to talk to you guys sometime. And Isabella, you have great skill. I even saw your resume. You have this great flair and sense of design and style. Something good's going to happen to you. I don't know what.
Thank you.
And I don't know where you're going to work, but I think when you present and you talk about issues, you bring really pertinent questions to the table. I admire that. It's hard to see those. Sometimes it's hard to see in all the noise to pick out the piece that says, you know what, I want to learn more about this. And that's a special skill you have. There's this curiosity piece about you. I really like it. I just think it's wonderful. Good for you. What do you think, Lily?
Oh, in fact, at the first time I saw her, I never think she's so young.
Yes.
I feel like she's so mature. She's like, she have a very clear mind and she knows what she wants. And she approached to her target strictly.
Yes.
That's what I like. You know,
Very
as a mother, as a HR director, as a deputy general manager in a company, I like this kind of stuff.
Yes.
I like to work with this kind of young person who really have very clear mind and very clear target and want to make effort to approach to what the way you want. And
Yes, yes.
she's smart.
Yes.
That's
Well,
you
that
know-
goes without saying, okay? I could have said that about both of you. You're both super
Yeah, you're so
intelligent.
smart, Lily.
no, but you know, I saw that I like her is like, you know, she's very young. She's almost, you know, even elder than my daughter, but
Yes.
for me, it's like same kind of generation. I'm so proud of her. You know, when
Yes. That's nice.
we have several projects, we are team members, right? And we cooperate is like, you know, it's very good team member. And I always say that I love you, Bella. I love to work with you, like very comfortable. And
Yes.
I could see her bright future.
Yes. Yes, me too. Me too.
Yeah.
Thank
Very
you.
good.
Now
Well
it's time
done, you
for
guys.
us to talk about Mr. Magnifico.
Yeah.
We don't have to do that one. I just kind of run it. We're okay.
No, we definitely have to talk
Yeah,
about you.
I remember like every morning you came to take the coffee. And I sit in the first line and I will say hello to you every morning. Remember that?
Yes, yes.
And I don't know who is this guy and what his job. I don't know. I have no
But-
idea.
But he sure likes coffee.
Until the Tiger Den.
Yeah.
You remember the Tiger Den? And me and Bella, we are a couple of group and we shoot the interview and we interview you and we interviewed another business person.
Yes, yes.
You remember that?
Yes, I do. I do.
And then
my
you
gosh.
give the comments to say that you guys asked the different questions.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
That's inspired us a lot, you know. And I
good.
start to understand, oh, Mr. Magnifico, what is position and what is role of job. And what is lucky that we have in the second semester and we have this opportunity to work together every Tuesday, right?
Yes.
It's wonderful. It's really kind of
Oh, the pleasure was mine, honestly, Lily.
yeah, and then
Pleasure was mine.
and also you're the language English master,
Yes,
right? You teach
yes.
us language. It's like you're kind of I don't know how to say that in
No,
English. It's a kind
well,
of-
I felt like I was your English tutor a little bit sometimes.
yeah.
Yes, and
It's
and,
like-
and happy to do it. But again, you want to learn. And when you have a learner who wants to learn, it's easy to teach.
Yeah,
It
for
is.
sure.
It is.
No, for Mr. Magnifico, I also remember Tiger's Den. It was
Yeah.
like my first memory because accidentally we thought that like Mr. P gave us these questions.
Yeah.
And we were just supposed to like base off of these questions. We were supposed to make up our own. And then we started like making questions up on the spot. And then you said that comment to us
Yeah.
and we were like, oh, that's nice. I think it was good for us to do this
Yeah.
mistake. But honestly,
good.
one of the greatest things about working with you is just that you're so outspoken, and I am inspired by that. I want to one day carry on a conversation with a guest, or even just someone in general that is like just more experienced than I am, because you literally have so much experience in life and you teach career development. So I just think it's incredible the way that you speak your mind, and you speak really beautifully. I want to speak English like you. And also I just think you are so focused in what you want, and you're a great coach. I mean, we were doing this project in the more technical side, but you were always there like, hey, what can I do to help? What is something that I can coach you guys in? And I just really felt like you were a mentor for us this whole podcast experience. So I'm very grateful for that.
Oh my gosh, I'm a little misty-eyed. I try to avoid that stuff. I wanted to do that for you. Anyway, you know what? This is the end of our journey, and I hope we keep in touch. Where we will communicate. I think in this new digital age, I think we can keep in touch. I think
Yeah.
we
For sure.
can.
That's for sure.
It's just my gut feeling. I think there's some tools out there we can use somehow to keep in touch. So, hey, that's the end of the podcast. That's the end of this stage in the podcast. We will reconvene again. Unfortunately, and fortunately, we'll have some new students.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're going to take a bit of a break for a little while. We'll train the next group of
And
students.
you will have new producers.
Yeah.
New
right?
producers. There will be new producers, and we'll continue the podcast. But for these 14 episodes, I'm eternally grateful, and I couldn't have done it without
Oh.
a better group.
Aw.
Oh.
Thank you so much for this
Yeah.
opportunity.
So that's it, everybody. Thanks for listening in on our 14 podcast, and I have to compose myself and say thanks again. We'll see you soon in
Thank you, everyone.
the adventures of Careerland.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
Hola.
everybody. See you later.
See